Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another fabulous episode of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V. Thanks for watching. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about Henry Cavill's statement that the DC universe of films made a few stumbles, made a few mistakes, but now that they're on a path to correct that, and that Wonder Woman was the first step. Now, a lot of people are looking at these clickbait articles, clickbait meaning they're put up with an extreme headline to get you to read them and to get you to think certain things. So, even though I know that these are not true, they say things like, Cavill slams DCEU and director Snyder gets his ass ripped. They don't actually say that inside the article. They say the actual words that the actor or person spoke, but they get you by saying things like that. So the idea that a lot of people have now that Cavill, and therefore by proxy, since Superman's the leader, other actors must feel the same way, and the studio must feel the same way, and things of that nature. The way I first looked at it was, well, in any other job, if you start spouting off about how many mistakes your boss or your company is making, he did not specifically say his boss, he did not say Snyder, he did not say the studio, all he said was, which is the popular rhetoric. Everybody has kind of hung their cape on the idea that because of Wonder Woman, the DC extended universe on film has been saved. So by him saying that, in any other job, a similar statement would be, yeah, this company, man, makes tons of mistakes, but we're on our way to correcting that with the first thing we got right, our fourth project. You'd be called into the office and you'd probably be fired, or you'd be suspended, or you'd be under investigation, or you'd be something. In this case, that isn't happening because, as I personally expect, the plan is to throw Snyder under the bus. Even though he's done all this work, even though he's created these characters for the big screen. Wonder Woman he didn't direct, but he was story man. He was the originator of the character on screen. And now they're saying her origin's going to change, which is just another way of saying we're moving away from Snyder. Now, Cavill didn't say all of this, and it hasn't been officially announced, but he left the project when it was mostly done. But what we're going to see is we didn't get all the credit if everyone likes the movie, and Snyder being summarily dismissed in that case. And if everybody hates the movie, Snyder will be dismissed for that reason, and he will get all the credit for making it terrible and for making the universe terrible thus far. I think it's very unfortunate because I think he's done a great job. There are, obviously, in any movie, in any franchise, there are mistakes that could have been made. There are things that could have been done differently. So my first thought was, how about you don't come in and pile on too? How about you stand behind the guy who gave you your livelihood, who gave you your career, who made you a star? Yes, Cavill was in a couple of things. No one knew his name. No one knew who he was. He was a skinny little guy who had some work on the side as an actor. But he wasn't a superstar. And his first attempt at a movie outside of the superhero genre did not fare particularly well. I wanted to see Man from U.N.C.L.E. I never did because it left the theater less than the hours of time that it would take to play one showing. All I'm saying is that he's not yet the kind of guy who's going to carry a franchise or carry a movie. I just think sometimes there's a time to keep your mouth shut, and sometimes there's a time to recognize and be thankful to the people who made you who you are. I'm a big Cavill fan as Superman. I haven't seen anything else he's done. I like him as Superman, and I think he should stand by what's been done. He doesn't have to say anything. My second thought on it is the studio is positioning everyone for a move away from Snyder and a move closer to what Marvel's doing with lightness and happiness and funness and laughingness and humor. I saw Thor last night. I actually thought it was very fun and very entertaining. It was mindless. Most of the jokes didn't hit. It was illogical, and most of the film didn't make sense, but it was fun. The characters were quippy with each other. There was some humor that did work. It was funny. It was entertaining. There was rock music in it when people were getting slaughtered by the hundreds and thousands. So it made it fun, and it puts your mind in a different place, which is what Marvel does well. DC the attempt was to try and keep it grounded in a sense of realism and the darkness of the bad things that were happening, while still having a sense of hope in Superman, who may not have come across that way because the film itself was too scary or too serious, and real life is serious, and people are saying I go to see superheroes to be taken on a fantasy. Thor was a fantasy for sure. Thor was that. And most of the Marvel movies are that in that way, even though there are hundreds being killed in the city streets. There's laughing and quipping and joking and happiness and rock songs. That being said, it seems as though DC and Warner's is on their way that way because a majority of the audience thinks that's what it should be. So making sense of that, it's a business, that's what they're going to do. So they may have given him these words, or they could have told him to say these type of things. I'm not saying it's a conspiracy, but normally you'd get fired for criticizing your boss, your company, the films. Because it's not just Snyder who made those films, it's the people that are now trying to change them too. All of these decisions were made together. It was a decision to make these films more realistic and darker and different from Marvel, so that we didn't have two universes doing the exact same thing. Maybe some people would like this way, maybe some would like the other way, maybe some would like both. I like both, but there is a big difference between them so far, and now what we're hearing is that they're going to correct that difference, which means they're going to come closer together in terms of theme, in terms of what they are. So, I don't know that Cavill meant anything by it, but I will say that it's a little bit disheartening that everybody's throwing the guy under the bus, because that's the direction it's going to go in, even though he didn't mention his name. So I'm not slanderizing him like some of these clickbait articles do with the first punch that they get you to click on. I'm saying what he said, and that is that we've made some mistakes in these movies. There were mistakes made, but we corrected them with Wonder Woman. Snyder did not direct Wonder Woman, therefore the two movies that he did direct in the film universe that he started were the mistakes that were made. So Snyder and his crews were responsible for a lot of those mistakes. And many fans believe that anyway, so they're not really calling into question what Cavill said. They're just saying, well, great, we want to see more of that. Although Wonder Woman felt like it was in the same universe, it had the same darkness, it had the same realism, with maybe a little more hope, because they did correct some courses to make it more clear to people who weren't seeing it, but it was always there. Wonder Woman wasn't that different from the other two films. I didn't see Suicide Squad. I don't plan on seeing Suicide Squad. It looked silly to me. It looked Marvel-y to me, and it looked about villains, and I didn't care about watching villains quipping with each other like the Avengers do. When I watch the Avengers, I'm watching heroes, so that's fun to me. I do believe we're moving in a new direction, and I don't know that Snyder's going to be a part of that going forward based on the rhetoric, based on some of the fandom, based on the idea that I still don't believe that DC and Warner's have had the success they've wanted to have. It's been evidenced in all the changes they've made in each film moving forward. Suicide Squad was a complete gamble. It was made because they were trying to be more fun. They were trying to change the direction of the films. Wonder Woman, again, got a little more even again, more like what it was before Suicide Squad. And they were trying to keep it in that vein, but maybe to inject some more humor or something like that, and it seemed to work. So in that regard, it could have been a completely innocent statement. What we did with Wonder Woman was really working. What we did with some of the other films didn't work exactly the way we wanted it to, so we're moving in a better direction now. Let's hope it means even better films, films that I love even more, because let's face it, everybody else doesn't always feel the same way as I do. I've enjoyed the films so far. I want to enjoy them more. I would love to have it be the best thing I've ever seen, although I think Man of Steel was the best origin story, the best Superman film we've gotten. I think Batman v Superman continued that, and I like seriousness, I like realistic, I like gritty, I like people acting the way they would act if the situation really happened. Thor, people didn't act the way anybody would act in any situation. But that's the difference between it's complete fantasy versus trying to ground the fantasy in some reality. A lot of fans don't like that, and now I guess we're moving somewhere away from what it was before, so I'm just hoping it doesn't get too the same, even though I enjoy films from both universes right now. Thanks everybody for watching, and remember, always look up in the sky.